Okay, so we're getting closer and closer to SummerSlam. The opening of Raw this week was actually pretty weird. I thought it was odd that they actually began with Brad Maddox and Vince McMahon in the ring, kind of running down Daniel Bryan. You know, the Daniel Bryan Vince McMahon stuff was pretty decent. Daniel Bryan has put a tremendous amount of work into what it is that he's doing. He has. And it's just so weird that they're constantly going to run him down. And then it's going to do like a corporate makeover for him. Seems entirely out of left field. The match with Kane was very good. I like the fact that he now has like an out of nowhere roll up for the pinfall. It was good. Of course, once that match was done, Kane hits a chokeslam on Daniel Bryan, then Broken Out in Love hits. Wyatt family comes down, attacks Kane. Good stuff. You know, I'm liking this angle because it feels like it's really coming out of nowhere. The Shield had their match against Mark Henry and the Usos. Dean Ambrose picks up some bones, gets a 3 count. It's good. Shield's been in the doghouse for a while after an argument between Roman Reigns and Randy Orton. So they appear to be on a pretty decent path right now. Post-match, Mark Henry attacks the Shield. So Mark Henry still looks nice and strong. It still seems like the Usos are just a step below where the Shield is, which works. Makes for a really interesting sort of match. Found out that on SmackDown, Del Rio gets to choose his SmackDown opponent, his SummerSlam opponent. He had a match against Christian. Nice match, good back and forth. Christian, out of nowhere, reverses the cross arm breaker into a roll-up for the victory. Good. Christian has been on a really good tear all of a sudden. He's had lots of good success. It'd be unique to see him take on Del Rio. Predominantly because there really are very little faces on SmackDown. At least it ends up being a filler feud. They put the title on Christian. You could see Sandow beating Christian for the title. Would make sense. Speaking of Sandow, Cody Rhodes took on Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett, who, even though when he came back and he had a tremendous push and had great matches with Sheamus, went absolutely nowhere. Cody Rhodes gets a victory over Barrett. Sandow comes down, kind of runs down Rhodes, and even discusses how Sandow is from a lineage of scholars and of intellectuals. Cody Rhodes, his parentage is that of a clown. Now, of course, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, phenomenal entertainer. You know, actually a really good athlete, despite how he looked. Put on really entertaining matches. And then he comes to E and they put him in polka dots. But it's a good dynamic for that feud, and I think those two guys, that's a feud that could really make 2 future stars. Cody has been pretty much punching that glass ceiling for years now. If done just right, he can be a very credible, lower main event, upper mid face. Easily. Face the company? Probably not, but he can easily hit a spot that puts him pretty close into like the Jerichos and the Rob Van Dams. And people of that level. You know, where if he wants to be a main event guy, he can do that. If he wants to challenge for mid-card title, he can do that too. Rob Van Dam had a match against Fandango. Fandango's been putting on some ridiculously solid matches too. His match with Cody Rhodes is very good. Match with Orton was very good. He has got a tremendous amount of in-ring ability. He's settled with kind of a goofy gimmick, but he makes it work. And it appeared really early that Van Dam was just too much for him. So he rolls out of the ring. Van Dam gets a count-out victory. Okay? Not bad. Works. Works well. They had a Divas match, ironically. I guess to also help hype up, actually they had 2 Divas matches, my mistake. Really help hype up Total Divas. Brie took on Natalya. Not a bad match. It was great to see Natalya in the ring. Not a bad match. What was going on when Michael Cole was discussing the match? It's like Natalya, technically gifted diva, not as glamorous or as attractive as the Bellas. Okay. So you kind of just described what she talked about on Total Divas. Then Nikki comes out playing a kazoo. guess it's meant to be a duck call. It sounded more like she was playing a really bad kazoo. Because they called Natalia the ugly duckling. Cheap pinfall. Brie defeats Natalia. Not a bad match, not a great match. Natalia deserves a lot better. AJ took on Caitlyn. A pretty decent match, you know. AJ did a really good job just grounding Caitlyn, not letting her get vertical, and just doing a good job when it came to wearing the body parts. Out of nowhere spear, kind of a sloppy spear, but I kind of expected a sloppy spear from Caitlyn. It's just, I think it just has to do with her musculature, and when she normally goes for this move, it just doesn't seem to look quite as impactful as it does when someone like Edge used to do it, or Goldberg, Rhino, even Christian seems to do a better spear than Caitlyn. But not a bad match. You know, it works well for their storyline. Then Dolph Ziggler came down, and Dolph and Big E Langston had a match. You know, decent match. Big E has got a career ahead of him. Easily. He's a big guy who appears to have the ability to talk. AJ gets involved in the match. Ziggler wins by DQ. Okay. So they continued 2 feuds in 2 matches and went back to back. It's rare. It's like they realized things can go on in the ring in advanced storylines. Curtis Axel had a match against R-Truth. So as you pretty face to tell, CM Punk comes down, attacks Curtis Axel, tries to go after Heyman. Curtis Axel essentially saves Heyman. Okay, good way to continue their feud, as well as remind people that Curtis Axel is a Paul Heyman guy. And then the main event was a tables match. Ryback and John Cena. This match was decent in the terms of a tables match, but it had some really bizarre moments. John Cena set up the ring steps, and then had a table going from the ring steps to the ring apron to try to put Ryback through. Ryback fought his way out, then Ryback did the exact same thing on another side. Didn't really seem like it was going anywhere. And they ended up not really using those. And so they just grabbed the steel steps and had like a step standoff, heaved the steps at each other, and then ran into the ring. And then they set up the bizarre, we're going to set up in the corner, I'll go for a clothesline, John, you'll duck, and you'll AA me through the table. Earlier they showed Ryback earlier in the day attacking a random person. Calling that person weak and smashing food in the guy's face and putting him through a table. I have no idea what their plans are with Ryback. And I think next week they did actually mention that Daniel Bryan might have a corporate makeover. I have no idea what that means. So it was a good Raw from a wrestling standpoint. Some of the things they've got going forward make almost no sense heading towards SummerSlam.